What's happening, y'all? David Lopez, aka Didactic, producer, composer, engineer.
Hi, I'm Manny. I am a singer-songwriter, um, performer.
So, actually, pretty cool story how we met. I have a very good friend of mine, friend of both of ours, Ian Schumacher, who runs a really cool singer-songwriter competition here in Atlanta. One of the best, no doubt. And a good friend of mine, and I started sponsoring the showdown with my company DLA. And we ran into each other over there. I think Ian actually introduced us.
Yeah, we met one of the nights I was performing. He introduced us, and I'm not sure if it was that night. You came up on stage, right? And
I think I did. I jammed with him. I think I jammed out with you. That might have been the first night that we actually just kind of impromptu played music together.
Yeah.
And Manny actually killed it. Got runner-up in one of the series.
Yeah.
But we actually had already met and started talking about working, and right, part of the prize package, you had some time with me, and we were already hours and hours and hours in the studio at that point.
Right.
Manny, you want to jump on that one?
Yeah. Well, in middle school, I think it was, I started playing classical music, played viola for a while, and I would listen to classical music even when I wasn't in school, and got really, I guess I really immersed myself in that part of what music was for me, and then kind of later on, I kind of gravitated towards a lot of like pop music. I would, browsed YouTube all the time with a lot of acoustic artists who just post themselves playing in a room. I was a big fan of Jason Mraz. It was just it kind of culminated from there, that whole singer-songwriter idea of but also kind of making sure that the music had a certain level of depth that, would, seemingly resonate through with a bigger audience, but yeah, that's pretty much my influences as far as growing up. And then I'm also influenced with modern music, like people who are in the industry today and stuff like that. But what about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like all over the board, all over the spectrum when it comes to influences. I'm from Puerto Rico, like Manny, as some of y'all might know already, but I grew up listening to a lot of like traditional folk, like Spanish folk, Puerto Rican stuff, a lot of like classic salsa, merengue, Fania record stuff, Gran Como de Puerto Rico, Héctor Lavoe, Rubén Blades, stuff like that. Grew up playing like punk rock bands and indie rock bands, fan of cats like the Pixies and Beck, and even some like faster punk rock stuff when I was growing up, NoFX, stuff like that. A lot of hip hop, true school hip hop from up north, Roots Crew, Mos Def, Gangstar. Listen to a lot of 4/4 stuff, so I'm really all over the spectrum. I try to just kind of take from everything that I've experienced in my life and somehow bring that out through my music.
Think I changed my answer? I'm just kidding.
You want to go for that one first, man?
So for me, it's I take a few different approaches, but mainly I just kind of try to force myself to write, a few times a week, and or depending on where I am, I guess at that point in my life, but I try to force myself to write, and then kind of, if it's not coming out, I just kind of let go. I'll go do something else, and then kind of just wait till I come back to it, and it usually kind of works out for me in that way. Some stuff comes right away. Other stuff, it takes a few months to get to. It's I'm kind of all around the place with my process. But in terms of, I just kind of make sure that I understand when something needs to kind of be let go in a certain sense for the writing and melodies and all that. What about you?
So for me, from the production composition standpoint, I think it's all about really the concept to start. So I really like to just kind of build up ideas with no exact, ultimate goal in mind. Just kind of like to start bringing in tracks, loading up instruments, dealing with sound design, and just kind of building something up. a feeling, a concept. It can be drums, it can be melodic stuff, bass, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I just start with trying to develop and build some feel, some vibe, some concept. Because for me, ultimately, that's what production and music is all about. Once I've developed that, then I try to focus more on kind of refining sound design, moving on to arrangement after that is the focus. And then I start moving towards mix down and ultimately mastering. So it's all about starting the concept off kind of on the right foot, if you will. Just that I hope people enjoy the project. I'm really stoked and happy to have worked with Manny on this project. Hopefully it's the first of numerous to come in the future.
I'm sure.
I'm proud of the project. I think it does something a little bit different, and that's what I strive to do. Bring in all my different influences and kind of let it be an organic process. And not say, hey, this track has to be this, or I want this to be this, or this bassy thing, or this 4/4 thing, or this down tempo thing, or this reggae thing.
Right.
I'm just trying to take from all my different influences organically and just put something together. So I think the track has something special.
Right.
I will try to say with the humility I do. I stand by it
Right.
and the work, and I think it brings in different influences from the bass culture stuff, bassy music stuff, and all like the D&B shit that I used to listen to back in the day, and I still dig. I think there's a melodic, almost like an 80s-y synthy feel in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've told you, man, you definitely bring a different energy and this kind of sultry vocal singer-songwriter thing.
Well, that's why I wanted to work with you, because like I knew you kind of had this different background, but I knew you were also still talented in that background, and you would bring something completely different to what I was used to and what I think most people are going to expect. And it will, but it works. It works. It just fits and molds, and it's great. And it was, I think if anything, that people could take from it, even if it's musicians, as the audience, they could look at it and be like inspired by the fact that like, hey, maybe I don't have to just make a pop song or just make a,
straight whatever it is, deep house track,
right, exactly, right. So
no, I'm all for it, man. That's one of the things I love about music is all the different influences, all the different styles, and I'm really about trying to do something different, forward thinking, something that brings different energy, different feeling. So again, man, I really do appreciate you. I'm glad I worked on this project. I hope there are more to come. I'm sure there will be. And I hope somehow it resonates with people. Your message, musically, my message, the combination of all of our work together. So that's it. Hope people dig stuff, a lot of good things, and more music coming out in the future, different styles. And other than that, for me, just truly much love to everyone out there. And I guess that's about it. Manny, you got anything else to throw in on that?
Undone, Didactic, featuring Manny Cortes. Check it out.